the city, you. You and me, we just don't get along. You make me feel like I did you wrong. Going places where you don't belong. Ever since I left the city, you got exactly what you asked for. Running out of places in your passport. You used to call me on my cell phone. Late night when you need my love. Call me on my cell phone. Late night when you need my love. And I know when that hotline bling, you can only mean one thing. I know when that hotline bling, you can only mean one thing. Ever since I left the city, you got a reputation for yourself now. Everybody knows and I feel left out. Girl, you got me down, you got me stressed out. Cause ever since I left the city, you started wearing less and going out more. Glasses of champagne out on the dance floor. Hanging with some girls I never seen before. You used to call me on my cell phone. Late nights when you need my. Yeah, man. Yeah. What's up, chat? What it do? What it do? What it is? What it ain't, man. We got a lot of crazy news going on right here at the end of January, at the end of the first month of the new year, man. It's going crazy right now. January has been nothing but crazy. And man, no one really foresaw us having a crazy beginning of the year like this, right? I'm talking about we got some crazy things going on in the news. We're gonna get right into it here. Let me just take this stuff off real quick. I hope everybody is doing well in the chat. I hope everybody is doing well in the chat. So let me go ahead and see what's going on right here, right here. All right. We got some news, folks. We got some news. So let me just get to this going right here. All right. Here we are. Here we are. Top news stories going crazy in the United States right now, chat. It's a lot of stuff going on. Y'all already know we talked about what was happening yesterday. We talked about Tom Homan and his interview that he had yesterday with his now his new border czar position taking over for Greg Bavino, who was sidelined by Donald Trump. Uh, they use that term sideline. Let's just be honest. He was fired. It is what it is, right? But Tom Homan took over. We talked about that yesterday. We talked about Tim Walz yesterday. We talked about um, the other lady, Christy Noem. We talked about everything yesterday, but now we're gonna get into some more different stories because we got a lot of things that unfolded yesterday, late last night, and so we're gonna go ahead and get into one right now. Let me just go ahead and get everything put together over here. So as we can see, all right, as we can see, let me just make sure everything looks good. Hope everybody is doing well today. Go ahead and hit that like button on your way in. Shout out to Dorian Brown. Dorian Brown, what's going on, brother? Hope you're doing well. I hope you are doing well. So let me just make sure this is showing up. So we're gonna go ahead and get into it right here. The Department of Justice, DOJ. The DOJ releases 3 million pages from its Jeffrey Epstein files. Right. So this story has been talked about for a while now, right? Everybody's wondering what's happening with, you know, the files, the Epstein files, what's going on with the president? Is he involved? The right is saying that no, you guys are overreacting. These files have nothing to do with our president. Meanwhile, the left is saying release the files. Why is everything taking so long? Blah 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 blah. All right. So on Friday night, on Friday, not Friday night, actually Thursday night, Friday morning, early Friday morning, Deputy Attorney General Todd Bloch uh, announced that the Department of Justice posted 3 million pages under the Epstein files. 3 million pages, dog. 3 million? 3 million pages? Can you just fathom the thought of all of these lawyers and AGs that have to come together and actually go through all of these files. Like, it has to be like just just wild work, just a lot of attention to detail. But under the Epstein File Transparency Act on the department's website, after months of pressure, Congress passed the Epstein File Transparency Act, but the DOJ missed a December 19th deadline and assigned hundreds of DOJ lawyers to review records for redactions. Okay, so everybody at first was really just like, what's happening? Why is it taking so long? But when you think about it, man, 3 million pages, you just can't go. Sometimes, I mean, it's easily to like just misjudge like your deadlines on that. We're not talking about 2,000 pages. We're not talking about 5,000. We're not even talking about 100,000 pages. We're talking about 3 million pages of just crazy information within this whole Epstein situation, right? So you got that going on, and everybody was like, okay, it's taking so long, but here we go. Files includes photographs, interview transcripts, call logs, court records, among tens of thousands of pages released. And the Deputy General Todd Blanche said victims' identities and women faces were redacted. So you got to think about that too. Let me see what's going on right there. You got to think about that too. Like, 3 million pages of all of these photographs, all of these transcripts, all of these call logs, and women faces and identities. Like, of course, it's gonna take a little bit more time. They misjudged the deadline, and I'm not taking the right side on that or the left or whatever. Like, I'm just kind of like centered on just like the common sense part of it. Like, you got this big case, and it's involving, quote unquote, or allegedly, everybody think that it's also involving the president, so they got to go through these things carefully, and they got to make sure they protect the people in the process. Okay, officials said further releases are expected as the review continues amid intense scrutiny, and the records include flight logs showing Donald Trump flew on Epstein's jet, plus photos of former President Bill Clinton. Right, so these are things that we already knew. Right, we already knew that situation. Right, but I'm gonna tell y'all something though. I will say this: when there's smoke, there's fire. When there's smoke, there's fire somewhere. Right. Sometimes who you hang with, man, it can get you. It can definitely tarnish your reputation. And so, um, I really believe there's something to this. I don't really know. I'm not saying there has to be something to this. Like, they won't be pursuing, like, the DOJ is, they're not just pursuing this just because, just to try to prove. Because if it was nothing to it, they'll look at the left like, what the hell, whatever, shoe fly. Like, they'll look at the left and be like, you guys are crazy, right? But this the centerpiece of it. Let's see what the left is saying about these files here. So they're saying, the left is saying that the Department of Justice released over 3,000 pages of document related to Jeffrey Epstein, including more than 2,000 videos and 180,000 images, according to the Deputy General Todd Bloch. This release follows the Epstein File Transparency Act, enacted to disclose the government files on Epstein and his associates after public pressure. So the DOJ stated that the release are being conducted with significant redactions to protect victims' identities and as explained by Todd. So neither Donald Trump nor Bill Clinton has been publicly accused of wrongdoing. There it is. So this is the left part, right? This is definitely the left side of the spectrum here, um, in connection with Epstein, and both deny having knowledge of his crimes. So no one has been publicly accused of wrongdoing, says the left. Let's see what the right is saying about the files that released today. The Justice Department released the 3,000 files, blah, blah, blah. The documents relate to Epstein's abuse of young girls and the interaction with powerful individuals mandated by the Epstein File Transparency Act. Previously withheld documents were disclosed after a missed deadline, causing criticism of the Justice Department transparency. So, concerns arose after the Justice Department missed a deadline to release all documents and has only disclosed a fraction of the files. So, what do you guys think about what's happening right now with these files? What's going on, Jay Dunn? Everybody in the chat, hope everybody's doing well. I hope everybody's doing well. So, let me see what's happening here. What can we see? Look, can we see? So, we're just gonna go here. Let me go into my records here, chat, because I definitely want to make sure. Uh, We have everything. Where is my playlist? Where is my playlist? Where is my playlist? Here we go. Here we go. Here we go. Playlist. Watch later. Here we go. Right here. So we're gonna look at all of these current news videos right now. We're not gonna watch all of these, obviously, right? We're not gonna watch all of these. So here we go, chat. Let's see what's going on right here, so we can get into some of these things that's happening right now. What do you guys think about the DOJ releasing 3 million pages of the Epstein files? What do you think it's gonna do? Do you think it's gonna anything's gonna come of it, or you think it's just another um, smoke screen? What do you guys think? Let me know. Let me know what you guys think.
Ways to say yes when others say no.
3 million pages, 2,000 videos, 180,000 images. The latest dump from the Epstein files after weeks of political pressure. There are extremely serious allegations in these files against some of the most powerful people in the world. Not all of the information in there will be verified or necessarily true, but there are allegations about President Trump that he's previously dismissed as nonsense. Also included video of Ghislaine Maxwell being interviewed, refuting she knew that girls giving massages to Epstein were under 18.
Because when I was there, when I was present, at the time that I was present, the people that gave Jeffrey, men and women who gave Jeffrey massages were adults.
What do y'all think? Do y'all think anything is gonna come of these files from the president? Do y'all think anything will come of or come from the files that will potentially um, tarnish the president, Donald Trump's presidency? Or what do you guys think? Do y'all think anything will come of these files, or you think it's just something that the left is pushing? What do y'all think? What do y'all think?
Right off the top, new today, in the matter of convicted sex criminal Jeffrey Epstein and the public's thirst to see what's in those Epstein files, the Department of Justice announced today that they will release more than 3 million pages of records. What's in them, though? That's the big question. We're told more than 2,000 videos and 180,000 images. Here's Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche.
The categories of documents withheld include those permitted under the Act to be withheld. Files that contain personally identifiable information of victims or victims' personal and medical files, and similar files, the disclosure of which would constitute a clearly unwarranted invasion of personal privacy.
CBS News Justice reporter Jake Rosen live from Washington. So, Jake, they have a lot of files to go through, but they've had this for quite a while. Is there any idea why we're still not seeing all of them, and now this was supposed to be released in December?
Look, that's why they created that whole Epstein File Transparency Act, right? The point of them releasing it just to be transparent about what's in it, right? They already I think they already seen everything that they needed to see. They already know what they know, right? If they had enough to do something to Donald Trump, right, guys, it would have been done by now. I'm telling you, it would have been done by now. Hey Sherry, how's it going? If literally, I'm just being honest, and I'm not leaning one way or the other. I'm just saying, right? That was the whole reason for them releasing or pushing the Epstein File Transparency Act, was to just be transparent to the public about what's inside the files. But if they had something on this man, in my opinion, it would already things would have already happened by now, right? He would have already been indicted, or whatever the case is, impeached, whatever it is. It would have already happened by now if it was something in there that was just that bad, right? But it's just so much pressure to release these files that they have to do it. Because they already said that they will do it. They had a deadline on it, right? They missed the first deadline because of redactions and identities and personal things as well, photos, things like that. But that's just my opinion. If they had something there, like I said earlier, when there's smoke, there's fire. But I don't think there's fire for Donald Trump. I just don't really think there is. I don't know. I could be wrong. But I don't think there's fire for Donald Trump.
It was, Reed. It's been 42 days since the statutory deadline to release all of these files. Deputy Attorney General Todd Blanche, who spoke with the Department of Justice press corps for about 35 minutes today, not so totally centrally focused on the Epstein files, but that was the purpose of this press availability, said that this is 3 million documents, like you just mentioned with that breakdown, some just documents, photos, videos. Some of them were videos taken by Jeffrey Epstein, Deputy Attorney General Blanche said. Others were just found in his collection. Some of it is child pornography. Others is just simply videos and photos of the estate and that he had in his possession. What we don't know is the exact scope of what's
Child, CP. I'm gonna say CP because you heard what he said. CP is crazy. That is wild, right? And you talk about 3 million pages of documents. They had hundreds of DOJ lawyers that were actually, uh, you know, looking at these files, right? So 3 million pages from December 19th when they're supposed to release these files until now, January the 30th. You talk about 3 million pages. I think that's good timing. I know they said that they would do it. They said 42 days afterward, but still, I think that's like, God, dog, 3 million pages. We ain't talking about 100,000 pages, chat. We talking about 3 million pages, photos, all type of stuff, videos. Like, everybody got to carefully go through and just dissect every last one of these pages.
in here in terms of massively exciting new revelatory details. What we do know is that Blanche said that the Department of Justice has combed through these files through, quote, multiple layers of review, which means that they have combed through not just the potential legal ramifications of releasing some of these documents, but protecting victims' identities, Reed. And we should also note to our audience that in this big batch, there is not a full, complete set of information. Deputy Attorney General Blanche said that while they were overly conservative in terms of their moving to declassify and release some of these documents, this is not the full final set. It will likely be what they said, one of the last releases at all. We'll see what kind of comes out of this as our team of dozens and dozens of people at CBS read through it.
So we know who has their.
But that's what I'm saying, right? Like, what is everybody hoping to see? Like, if DOJ is already, the files that they release, they've already reviewed. So what are we hoping to see? What are we hoping to find that 200 plus DOJ lawyers haven't already seen, right? Like, what is the public? The public is just, I don't know. They want transparency. They're getting transparency. So this is, like you said, it's likely the last that they will get. Maybe. Who knows?
Hands on the documents. Is there any mechanism for any oversight as they go through those documents? A lot of families of Epstein survivors say they want everything released, but they'd also like some oversight on those who have their fingerprints on those documents.
There's been a push, Reed, by two congressmen, Congressman Thomas Massey, who's a Republican from Kentucky, and Ro Khanna, who's a Democrat, who led this charge to get this Epstein legislation passed. Their efforts were rejected in court to push for some kind of special master, somebody who would come in and oversee the Department of Justice's handling of these releases to check potentially whether any documents have been altered before they're released or potentially after. We know that there have been a number of congruent and parallel pushes from members of Congress to get the Justice Department Inspector General, an independent body that would review this release. That has not caught momentum either. So right now, and this is the challenge that the Trump administration and Deputy Attorney General Blanche and Attorney General Pam Bondi have to really handle this fallout, as well as President Trump, is how do you convince people that this is accurate? How do you convince people that this is final? And how do you convince people that this information that's being released and the information that was released in November and December all is actually trustworthy and worth the public's time to read through? 3 million documents is a lot. How many people are going to go through with that read is a number and different question. And whether, and Deputy Attorney General Blanche answered it himself, he said he was not sure that the final solution and answer here would be for the public to trust the Department of Justice. He said they were doing what they could, but this is kind of a gasoline fire that's going to be very difficult to put out because people are still going to have questions as new information will come to light, as it has for the last 15 years or so on this topic.
Yeah, I mean, nobody's going to be satisfied, bro. Nobody's going to be satisfied. It's going to be questioned for years, decades. It's going to be questions. If they don't find anything, man, you know, no one's going to be satisfied over this whole thing, right? So this is the big news that came out. The DOJ released more than 3 million pages of records related to Jeffrey Epstein, and so people are looking for something on the president, and if they don't find something, they're going to have questions regardless, right? That's just the reality, chat. That is just the reality. That is just the reality. So we're going to go ahead and move on from that. That's one of the big uh, things happening right now. Let's move on to Don Lemon. Everybody know. Hope everybody in the chat is doing well today. Hope everybody in the chat is doing well. Hello, hello, hello. Government moves at a snail pace. Pain is coming. Okay, what's going on, everybody? Anyways, guys, Don Lemon arrested. Don Lemon arrested, faces federal civil rights charges over Minnesota church protests. So we're gonna go ahead and see what they're saying here on the left and the right. So here on Thursday night in Los Angeles, former CNN anchor Don Lemon was arrested by federal agents while covering the Grammy Awards. Right? Covering the Grammys Award, chat. He got arrested while he was covering the Grammys Award. That's crazy. According to the Department of Homeland Security, charges stem from January the 18th, 2026 protests at City's Church in St. Paul, Minnesota, where demonstrators disrupted a service over alleged ties to ICE. So legal filings note that the authorities relied on an 871 law and the FACE Act in Lemon's case, which involved 3 other people, including Georgia Fort, according to Attorney General Pam Bundy. Last week, a federal magistrate judge rejected the Justice Department bid to charge Lemon, and Abe Lowell called the arrest an unprecedented attack on the First Amendment, while Mark Scoff warned jailing a journalist for doing their job is dangerous. Amid large federal surge in the Twin Cities, 3,000 federal immigration agents arrested over 3,000 undocumented immigrants, transforming daily life and fueling protests among residents of the Twin Cities. So Don Lemon was arrested last night, chat. He was arrested last night while he was covering the Grammys award, right? Can you imagine that? You had no clue what was happening. Federal agents just come barging in. Boom! Get on the ground, get on the ground. I'm not sure how it happens, but that's just got to be a scary thing to see right there. The left says Don Lemon was arrested by federal authorities in Los Angeles on January 29, 2026 during the preparation for the Grammys due to his role in a protest in the city's church in St. Paul. Pam Bundy confirmed Lemon's arrest and that of 3 other people linked to the protests against the Church Pastors Association with Immigration and Custom Enforcement. So yeah, that pastor in St. Paul leading that congregation. I don't know the church name, but apparently they were upset and went and protested his church because he is actually a federal member of ICE somewhere in some capacity. So Georgia Fort, an independent journalist, was arrested by federal agents while documenting the protests at the church. Lemon's attorney, Abe Lowell, called the arrest an unprecedented attack on the First Amendment. All right, so we already read that. That was from the left source, and we're gonna look at the right source. See what they said. See if there's anything here different. Not too much different there. All right, so what we're gonna do here, chat, we're gonna go over here and see what Don Lemon's lawyer had to say about this entire thing, chat. Here we go. What's up, chat? We're gonna see. Here's Don Lemon's lawyer walking out right now.
Okay.
Hey, ladies, look, get out, everybody. Get out! Down in front. Down in front. Down in front. Look this way, please, James. Look this way. Yes, you face to the left of the light. Yeah, there we go. Down in front, please.
So I'm here representing the Committee for the First Amendment, which is made up of about 3,000 members of the entertainment industry, prepared to fight for our constitutional right, our freedom of speech, assembly, protest, freedom of the press. The arrest of Don Lemon doing his journalistic duty is one page more out of an authoritarian playbook. And we say
Scribe is how you stop explaining the same thing over and over at work. Watch this. It'll change your life.
Right in the middle of what
to fight to protect our rights. Many of our fathers and grandfathers fought and died for these rights. And we are not ready to sit and be quiet. We have to speak up. Every American who believes in our Constitution has to speak up. Don Lemon is a professional journalist. He and his producer were doing their job. Nothing more, nothing less. And he's been arrested. And they'll make up all kinds of defamatory things to say about him. That's what they're doing. This is how autocrats act. We can't fall for it. We have to speak up. When a red line is crossed like this, we cannot be silent.
I mean, that's exactly what they're trying to do, though. I mean, you got to think, like, Don Lemon, I'm sorry, whether you hate Don Lemon or not, you got to admit, he has a hell of a following, right? And they know that. That's the problem. It ain't about him being there. It ain't about him being an independent journalist. It's not about, you know, him protesting peacefully, whatever the case was. It is about his power, chat. It is about his power. Don Lemon has power because he has influence. He has a lot of influence. And this is what we're looking at. This is what we're facing. That's just the truth, chat. That is just the honest truth.
And I want... You want to say something? No. Okay. So I know Don Lemon. My husband created CNN, and I will fight for their right to speak, which is guaranteed in our Constitution. They arrested the wrong Don. Thank you very much.
And I just want to make a correction. That is not his lawyer. Sorry about that, chat. That is not his lawyer. That is not his lawyer. So let me see what's happening right here. Let me see what's happening right now. Let's see.
Charles, I know you can outline those statutes now for us.
So one of the interesting things about this, Ariel, is as David was just talking about, the first notion of 18 U.S. Code Section 241, which is the conspiracy against rights, is a requirement that two or more people sort of conspire to inhibit by way of injury, threatening, or intimidation someone in the free exercise or enjoyment of their constitutional or statutory right. So that's one of the charges. Again, I want people to think about the video that was played during the lead-in, where you can actually hear Don Lemon saying, I don't want to intimidate anyone. I'm going around everyone. I want to be respectful. So I just want to point people out with that. And with respect to the FACE Act of 1994, that's an act that was originally designed to keep people from harassing people who were seeking reproductive care outside of women's reproductive facilities from being harassed. And then later on, it was added, or as part of the negotiations of getting it passed, it was added on that you could not inhibit people from being in places of worship. Again, you're talking about physical obstruction. And I want, again, to draw viewers' attention to the video where we saw Don Lemon saying, I'm going around, I'm making sure that I'm not in anyone's way. Where I'm going with this, where you add in the fact that you had two different...
He knew exactly what he was doing. He knew what he was up against, right? And the fact that he went and did it anyway shows you that, you know, he already knew something could definitely happen. And that's exactly what happened. So he definitely went there with his ducks in a row. I just want to see what's going on in the chat. Hope everybody doing well. I agree with her, blah, 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 blah. What's going on? What's going on, chat? That's Jane Fonda, dumbasses. Okay, you don't have to be disrespectful, because we will block you for 86,000 seconds. Understand that. All right, I was in the backseat of blah, 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 blah. What's up? What's up, forgiveness? How's it going? It would be like a reporter coordinating with terrorists prior to them taking hostages, knowing their illegal activity, blah, 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 blah. That's a reach. That's a reach, unhinged. That is a reach. I was in the backseat, blah, blah, blah. All right, here we go. Y'all ain't talking about nothing.
Different attempts to try and get a magistrate judge sign off an arrest warrant. And then you ultimately had to put this in front of a grand jury, which is a secret proceeding controlled by prosecutors. We all know that. Is that ultimately here, I can't help but to conclude that the punishment is actually the process. I think that the DOJ knows that this is a trash case. This is not a case that they are expecting ultimately to get a conviction on, but the embarrassment or the attempt to embarrass, the attempt to defame, and the attempt to intimidate the press is really what's driving this prosecution.
There may be people.
I can agree with that. I can agree with that. And that's why I said that's exactly why they did it. They understood the power and the influence that Don Lemon has just from being there, right? Even though he was saying, "Hey, I'm not impeding you. I'm not doing this, blah blah blah." Even though he was voicing those things on camera, he understood his power and influence, and he understood that they would come after him, and that's exactly what happened. That's exactly what happened, chat. He already knew what was going on. He already knew.
This is Launchpad Golf. It's a place for people who hit things,
But he'll be up
miss
out of there.
things, and say things
He'll be up out
like,
of there real soon.
Journalist Don Lemon has been arrested in connection with an anti-immigration protest that disrupted a service at a Minnesota church. The January 18th protest at the city's church in St. Paul increased tensions between residents and the Trump administration. It's unclear what charge or charges Lemon is facing. The arrest came after a magistrate judge last week rejected prosecutors' initial bid to charge him. The former CNN anchor has said he has no affiliation to the organization that went into the church and that he was there as a journalist covering the protest. Prominent civil rights attorney Nakima Levy-Armstrong and 2 other people involved in the protest were arrested last week. Prosecutors have accused them of civil rights violations for disrupting the church service. A pastor at the church is a local official with the U.S. Immigration and Customs Enforcement. Lemon was arrested by federal agents in Los Angeles, where he had been covering the Grammy Awards. His lawyer said Lemon will, quote, fight these charges vigorously and thoroughly.
They got him at the Grammy Award, chat. They went and got him at the Grammy Award. You talk about the ultimate embarrassment. The ultimate embarrassment. That's why I said they knew exactly what they were doing. They knew exactly what they were doing. Anyways, moving on from Don Lemon. He was arrested facing federal civil rights charges, but they'll be dropped. They'll be dropped. Best believe that. They won't stick. Like I said, it's a fear tactic. Definitely trying to suppress the press. That's crazy, right? Anyways, let's move on. Let's move on to what we got next. Let me see what we have next on the list real quick. Let's see here. Let's see what we got. We're just gonna go here real quick. Let me see if they still going crazy right now and on the road. Oh yeah. They still protesting today. You know, they had that blackout for January the 30th right now. So there's a lot of protests going around right now in Minneapolis, as you guys can see. They are protesting right now in Minneapolis and several other places. Well, in the midst of the protest, DOJ opens up civil rights investigations into Alex Preddy's death, right? And that's something that is surprising to me with the DOJ because, well, really with DHS, because apparently DHS was going to handle this internally. They weren't going to turn this over to anyone, and so DOJ announced that they actually opened up a civil rights investigation. So Deputy Attorney announced on Friday, the DOJ opened up a civil rights investigation into Alex Preddy January the 24th shooting while filming Border Patrol officers in Minneapolis, with the FBI leading and DHS reviewing separately. All right, so this is what's happening right here. They got 3 different agencies reviewing and going over this case. Videos that surfaced this week show multiple videos contradicting initial accounts, while federal prosecutors in Minneapolis pressed the U.S. Attorney Office in Minnesota and Homeland Security investigation had initially led the probe. Footage demonstrated that Preddy had a state permit but did not reach for the handgun as officers tackled him. One removed the gun and 2 officers fired shots. The officers were placed on administrative leave. The announcement means the DOJ Civil Rights Division will run independently from DHS internal review, while Minnesota Governor Tim Walz and Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey say state investigators are locked out. Right? So the state has nothing, they can't do anything about it. Because, this was a federal situation. The January 13th footage shows Preddy yelling, spitting, and a handgun visible in his waistband, though he did not reach for it. U.S. House Judiciary Committee Democrats demand DOJ documents by next week, while FBI evidence sharing with Minnesota state investigators remain unclear. So let's see what they got to say about this, chat.
I have no idea who came up with the idea to get me.
Let's see what they have to say about this.
Of a man believed to be Alex Preddy, who's spitting, who's kicking out a taillight of a law enforcement vehicle. Does that change the perception of a potential DOJ investigation? Is there going to be a civil rights investigation into his death? Where does that land now that video's out? Then I have a quick follow-up on that.
I don't think a single video should change any perception the Department of Justice may or may not have about that tragic occurrence last Saturday. We've said repeatedly over the past week that, of course, this is something that we're investigating, and we are. That's what we would always do in circumstances like this. And so there's an investigation that's ongoing, which I'm not going to talk about. But just look, the problem is an initial reaction to a particular video, one or another. You're talking about one that happened apparently some days ahead of last Saturday. It's an investigation. So an investigation necessarily means just that. It means talking to witnesses. It means looking at documentary evidence, sending subpoenas if you have to. And the Department of Justice Civil Rights Division has the best experts in the world at this. They've been doing it for decades. And so I expect that investigation will proceed with those parameters in mind.
Are you looking at a nexus of left-wing groups? This DOJ said that that's something that you guys were concerned about. Are you following money? Are you looking at a potential that all of this may be related somewhere?
I mean, yes.
Can you clarify who at the Justice Department is involved in the Preddy investigation? Is it the Civil Rights Division? Is it the U.S. Attorney's Office?
Yeah, I mean, the video prior, a lot of people are speaking on the video weeks prior of Alex Preddy. They're trying to make it a narrative to say that he was definitely aggressive. I mean, of course he was aggressive in that video, and he didn't even get arrested that week. But do that have something to do with the week, the day he got unalived? No, I don't believe so. Right? I don't even believe it was the same agents, to be honest with you. So maybe they knew who he was because he was wearing the same clothing. Maybe they had an idea of who he was. But is that the reason why they utilize deadly force? I doubt it. I seriously doubt it.
It's in Minnesota.
So I want to be careful about. I want to choose words carefully about involved. Investigations like this are led by law enforcement, so that's the FBI. There's coordination with the civil rights with Harmeet Dillon's group, and there's trial attorneys there that this is their lives. They've done this for decades, and so to the extent there's questions during an investigation that require a trial attorney to weigh in, or if you need a civil rights attorney to draft a search warrant or help with an investigative process, I expect the Civil Rights Division here at Maine Justice will be part of that effort. But I don't want to overstate what's happening. I don't want the takeaway to be that there's some massive civil rights investigation that's happening. This is what I would describe as a standard investigation by the FBI when there's circumstances like what we saw last Saturday, and that investigation, to the extent it needs to involve lawyers at the Civil Rights Division, it will involve those.
Yeah, I don't really know what's gonna happen. I mean, I don't think they're really gonna find anything um, just crazy negligent from the agents. I mean, we can argue that all day, but it's really gonna be hard, right, to know if this was just negligence on the federal agents' part, right? It's gonna be hard to really know. So I don't think anything really will come from that. What do y'all think, chat? Y'all think anybody will be charged in this case from from the FBI? I don't know. I have no clue. So that's just gonna be the FBI. The FBI is gonna be looking up. They're leading the case. The FBI is leading the case, I believe. Let me make sure that's right. Yep, the FBI is leading the case. DHS is reviewing the case separately, and DOJ just opened up a civil rights investigation. So we'll see what comes of this case with Alex Preddy. That's probably going to be an ongoing investigation for a while. So probably another 2 or 3 weeks. So we'll see. We shall see what happens with that. Let me see. Where did I find that other article at? Here. What is everybody talking about in the chat? He said that's all for show because they do not go douche. No one will be arrested or held accountable. All a horse and pony show, says Flanagan. Okay. We will never see the unredacted files. That's facts. They be trying to far-fetch a lot of the focus about crime that ICE did. Yeah, I can see that. I can definitely see that. So let me see. Where is the one on the students? Let me see if I can find that one on the students. We're just gonna go ahead and go here. It's a lot of right now. There's a lot of protests happening right now. You also had a student ICE walkout protest going on as well that happened in multiple places: California, Texas, San Antonio, student stage, Conroe High School. Let's go here real quick. Is that the one I want to see? No, that's not the one I want to see real quick. Protesting ICE operations in Conroe High School. I think that's out of Texas. Students staged a walkout protesting ICE. So you got high school students involved in this as well. This is in Sacramento right
Earn
here.
a teaching degree on your time.
Sacramento.
Now, hundreds of high school students are walking out of class and they are headed to the state capitol, and many of them are already there. This is all part of a nationwide protest against the Trump administration's immigration enforcement. Let's go live to KCRA3's Leanne Denyer joining us from the state capitol. Looks like lots of students are already there, Leanne.
No justice. No peace.
Yeah, we've actually moved from the Capitol within the last few minutes or so to walk with these students as they made their way to the federal building just a few blocks away. You can hear them chanting no justice, no peace as they are protesting against immigration activity around the country. I was able to talk with some of the organizers from McClatchy who told us that they wanted to stand in solidarity with people in Minnesota, as well as show the country that students, regardless of how old they are, have a voice and they want that voice to be heard. I'll let you guys take a listen. As you can see, these students have brought out their signs and they are trying to make their voices heard today.
Someone says suspend all those kids indefinitely. That's crazy. That's crazy. That would be a direct violation of their First Amendment rights, right? Because you probably against what they're doing, right? But you probably claim to also uphold the Constitution, right? That's the crazy part sometimes when people make those type of comments, right? They probably are so patriotic, right? Quote unquote. They're patriotic. They're all about the Constitution. But when they see people like exercising their constitutional rights and doing it peacefully, right? Now you say stuff like suspend all the kids indefinitely. Now you want to violate their constitutional rights. That's crazy to me. That's crazy to me.
Keep eyes off our streets. No justice, no peace.
Great to see you too, Danny.
So we know that McClatchy is just one of the high schools that is out here right now. We know that there have been other schools from across the school district, from across Sac City Unified, who have conjoined here downtown to be a part of this demonstration and walkout that's going off. I've talked to students from numerous schools from across the school district as they have made their way from the Capitol down here to the federal building. You can hear them continue to chant, and they are making their way. Like I mentioned, we're going to keep walking with them, but that's a live report from this student demonstration that is happening right now downtown. We'll send it on back to you.
Leanne, thank you. Another group of Sacramento area students and
I don't think some of y'all be saying stuff like that, right? You see Sha'Carri Richardson was arrested. No, I did not. I did not see that. I will definitely look into it. But some of y'all be saying stuff like that about the youth. I'm gonna tell you though, the youth is who you definitely don't want to lose, right? You don't want to lose the youth, right? Especially with social media is so big now. Like social media is the news outlet now. It's what every kid is seeing. They're seeing so much now, like so much more than what we saw when we were kids. Like those of us who are 30 years older, right? 30 years and older, like. But everyone else, like these kids are in high school right now. They're seeing so much. They have TikTok, Twitter, all these things. They see everything now, and so their perspectives are different, and they just have access to so much more, and so you don't want to lose the youth. I'm telling you, not in this situation, because these kids actually feel like they're on the right side of history, and it's gonna be hard to sway them. It's gonna be so hard to sway these kids to look a different way. I'm telling you, because they already have their mindset on what they see. They see it with their own eyes. Their parents are teaching them these things, and they're seeing it. They're making their own perspectives, and they see these things, man. They see it. Call it what you
Workers plan to rally and march today. They're gathering at 2 this afternoon at Cesar Chavez Plaza on I Street, not far from where Leanne.
That was in Sacramento. There's one. Yeah. They also have a student body in Minneapolis that's also protesting today. San Antonio High School.
Smart founders know something most people miss. Get your domain name even if you're not ready to launch your business. With Wix.
Well, we have a look at what's happening now across the city. So far, students from 2 area schools, O'Connor High School and now Brandeis High School, are taking part in walkouts to protest ICE. So these are just 2 of the many schools in the San Antonio area that have a walkout planned against ICE. Northside ISD did release a statement to us saying they are aware that these protests are happening. They say students will be marked absent if they are not in attendance by class time. Now, most of the school's protests are planned for the afternoon, and you can hear more about these protests during our later news.
They said,
hundreds
of students going to be marked absent. They're going to be marked absent. They're not in class by school time. So they don't mind y'all going out there protesting, but y'all better get back to class.
Some students in Minneapolis returned to class today, but others stayed home over safety concerns following the deadly ICE shooting last week. The district is offering families the option of remote learning for the month of January. Meanwhile, young people continue to make their voices heard as federal agents increase their presence outside of schools and near school bus stops. Derek James spoke to some students about their message to ICE and why they say speaking their mind matters.
As students returned to class Monday, planned walkouts took place across the metro. From Roosevelt High School in Minneapolis, where an ICE operation took place last Wednesday near where Renee Good was killed.
No more ICE!
To Roseville.
Make it loud, make it
And here in Maple Grove, these student walkouts are a show of solidarity and concern, not only for classmates, but for their communities as a whole.
My church has been getting threats because it was associated with Renee Good. I know a lot of my friends who might not necessarily even be immigrants are feeling fear just on like the possibility of being racially profiled.
The Maple Grove protest stayed on campus with speeches, a short.
And that's the problem too, because a lot of times they, you know, they're not just focusing on the target that they say they're focusing on. A lot of times they're just seeing who just doing random checks, just seeing who have licenses, who have papers or whatever the case may be, and they're just profiling different people, right? And that was something that I watched today at the Senate meeting today, this morning too. One of the guys asked a question. I wish I saved that video, but he asked a question like what does how do you know who's undocumented? Like, what does that look like? What does an immigrant look like to you? Like, he asked one of the officials that, and they couldn't answer the question. So it's like, why are y'all profiling people? Like, how are you actually profiling people? Like, are you going by the color of their skin? Like you definitely gotta be going by the color of their skin. Like, this is racial profile on another level. It's crazy. It's crazy, chat.
March, and to remember.
I want to see what y'all talking about in the chat. All right. Yes, we need the youth. Yep, Danny, you right about that. Shakari need left alone. I didn't hear about that. These young people different than how we was raised in would have never saw light again if I did walk out. Those students are obviously paid. Joe Blow, chill out. Do you think Christy needs to resign? You talking about Christy Nome? Do I think she need to resign? I don't know. I don't know if she needs to resign, but she might not. I don't know. I don't know if she needs to resign. I mean, as long as she got Donald Trump backing her, I don't think she needs to resign. She just don't. I mean, she showed up to that meeting this morning and walked out like she just didn't take no fuck. She took like two or three questions and then she walked out, said, "I gotta go." Like she ain't going nowhere. She ain't going nowhere. I'm telling you right now, she is not going nowhere. Trump loved that woman. She ain't going nowhere. Trust and believe that. Trust and believe that.
Or no Steve Miller will tell Minnesota that we can't love each other. That we can't blow whistles when we need to. That we cannot make sure our neighbors get their groceries. That we will make sure that our neighbors get to school and to work. We will keep doing exactly what Minnesotans are supposed to do, and that is love each other. And so we're here with people across this state. Hundreds of us have gathered because currently we are seeing a rest happen because there are 22 Minnesotans who chose to love their neighbors, who chose to blow whistles, who chose to have their phones out when neighbors were being abducted.
When I tell y'all these people are invested, they are invested, Danny. These people are invested, chat. You know how? Because Minneapolis, right? I'm in Minnesota right now. I'm about 40 miles south. 40 miles south of Minneapolis, probably 45. It is freezing right now, chat. It is freezing outside. These people are dedicated. I'm talking about they're for real, chat. They are for real. It's cold as hell outside.
Who decided, just like Renee Good, just like Alex Preddy, that it is unacceptable that ICE agents steal our people, that they push them down, that they beat us, that they assault us, that they ram our cars, that they break our windows, that they come into our homes. It is unacceptable. And we stand here in solidarity, not just with the 22 who have been illegitimately arrested for loving their neighbor. We stand with Georgia Ford, who
currently 10 degrees in Minneapolis right now, but the wind gusts are up to 16 miles per hour, making it feel like it's 1 degrees. So it's not, they out there protesting today, and it's cold as hell outside. I mean, they're wrapped up. Everybody's wrapped up good, but I mean, it's freezing temperature outside.
We see what they are trying to do. That's right. That's right. It is evil. We see that they are trying to put fear in our hearts because they want to break the spirit of Minnesotans. But we will not be broken. And so you are going to hear from a parent. You're going to hear from a business owner. You're going to hear from faith leaders. You are going to hear from Minnesotans about how we are going to keep doing what we do best. We're going to love each other. We're going to show up for each other. And we are certainly not about to allow the federal government to tell us that we can't do that. Bishop Jim Nagel.
And so that was earlier. I'm going to go back to that video. That was earlier, though. Let me see if they're actually still protesting right now. So that event has ended on Rutgers. Let me see if they still got something. Let me see if they still got something going on right now. See what they talking about with Don Lemon. Look like we got some update on Don Lemon. We might have an update on Don Lemon. Let me see if we got one.
Let's go.
Just looking for an update on Don Lemon. Damn, man, why this thing doing all this shit? Showing up blue and shit.
This tighter here. And then
Side, please.
See if they got an update on Mr. Don Lemon.
Step aside, please. Let the mayor come through.
Somebody said you don't engage at all, not sub. Bye, bitch. I don't want you on my fucking channel anyway. You already a fucking troll anyway. Get your bitch ass off my channel. You ain't got a sub, motherfucker. Matter of fact, I'll help you out right now. Let me just hide your ass from the channel. There you go. Fucking clown. Get off my channel. Y'all, that's so crazy. Like, he want to troll, but he want me to engage him while he troll. That is some diabolical shit. That's the right there. That's the right there that you talk about. These are these fucking Trumpatoids. And I don't mind people who love Trump, right? I don't mind people who genuinely like Trump. But I hate Trumpatoids. You fucking Trumpatoids. Trumpazoids. I'm talking about Trump is the king of the world. You won't, nigga, it ain't no fucking kings in America. What the hell are you talking about? We ain't got no damn kings in the States. Y'all kill me with that Trump is king, Trump is king. Like, you guys are weak as hell. Soft ass motherfuckers you want a king. Sit that shit down, man. Nobody doing no king shit.
You're right, Mayor, you're right. Over here. There's a podium. Hey, get over there. Don't do that over here. Don't do that over here. Thank you. Fuck you, Karen Bass! Fuck you, Karen Bass!
Can we get everybody closer, please? Can we get everybody closer? Tighter, please. Here, come here, like a wall. Please, tighter.
Fuck you, Karen Bass!
Well,
Fuck you, Karen
I think you're going to move back a little bit. I just have to say, after leaving the court proceedings, I am very glad that our renowned, esteemed reporter, Don Lemon, will be released on his own recognizance because he should not have been in court anyway. How far is this going to go? We're 155 days away from celebrating the 250th anniversary of our democracy that has been under attack every day since this administration took over. I am not a lawyer, but I will tell you to listen to this court proceedings that made no sense at all. What they described as his crime, from my perspective, a layperson's perspective, was the work of a reporter. He went into the church along with the protesters. He covered the story. He listened to what the people said who were in the church. That is his crime. It made no sense to me, and frankly, if I were the administration, if I were the other side, I would be embarrassed by that court.
It's the influence. I've already touched this. It's the point. It's the fact that he was there, and the influence that Don Lemon have, the power that he has, because he has the power to move people. Everybody know Don Lemon, whether you hate him or you love him. You know who he is, and he got a lot of followers. So that's why he got arrested, chat. That's all. It was just a scare tactic to let him know we watching you. We watching you, Don. We are watching you, and understand that. uh, we we watching you. Understand that. We are watching you. God damn, what happened to my live? There we go. We are watching you. Let me see what y'all talking about in the chat. Jay Hawaii says, "Go ICE." Okay, these people are idiots. Not one home has been rebuilt since the fires last year. Just because you can't understand it doesn't mean it's not a crime. Okay. Hello, Stacy. How you doing, Stacy? Shout out to Stacy. Didn't they say Lemon was approved to cover the story? Lemon is a journalist, right? He is a journalist, and I'm pretty sure they did. That's what I'm saying. I'm pretty sure they did because he wouldn't be there if he knew he couldn't be there. You know what I'm saying? But the fact that he was the things that he was doing, like saying, "Okay, I'm not impeding you. I'm not doing this." He was interviewing people. "Okay, I'm letting you walk through. I'm not impeding you from doing this. You can do that." Like he knew what he was up against, and he was doing everything in his power to not give them a chance to say that he was impeding their church service. That's what Don Lemon was doing.
Court proceeding that actually wanted to limit his movements so he could not go anywhere except for Minnesota.
What's up, Aiden? How's it going? He was serving the coffee and donuts beforehand. You can report on protests, but you can't be a part of it. He was reporting. He was reporting. He was not a part of the protest. He was reporting.
To New York, a journalist who travels the country. So we have seen protesters under attack. We have seen people being snatched off our street. And now all of you are at risk. And this is just unacceptable. This assault on our democracy has got to end. And you, all journalists, play such a critical role. And I just want you to know, and I think I could speak on behalf of this crowd, we are all going to fight every day for your ability to tell the truth, for your ability to cover this story and any other story. We have to draw the line in the sand and say we will not allow for the dismantling of our democracy. Thank you very much.
Thank you. Don Lemon was aware of a plan for resistance beforehand. He's seen on camera kissing one of the organizers and allegedly with protecting the secrecy and the element of surprise for this demonstration.
So that's the update. They're going to release Don Lemon today. He's probably already released, to be honest with you. I got to go ahead. I just want to see what she had to say. But Trump on pulling back federal presence in Minnesota, Trump says not at all. He's not pulling back federal presence from Minnesota. We know that. Tom Homan already said this, but Trump just had to reinforce what he said. On Thursday, President Donald Trump pushed back against reducing federal enforcement in Minnesota, warning Minneapolis Mayor Jacob Frey. He was playing with fire as Tom Homan prepared to speak. This week, Tom Homan unveiled plans to reduce street deployment of federal agents after Operation Metro Surge brought about 3,000 federal agents and coincided with arrests and deaths of 2 U.S. citizens, Renee Good and Alex Preddy. Federal officials acknowledged forceful tactics, including mass federal agents entering homes and intimidating legal observers. Video shows Alex Preddy kicking a taillight before agents wrestled him down. I think that's irrelevant to what happened 11 days later. So, I mean, like the guy from, like the Todd Bloch from DOJ said, he don't see any relevance in what happened 11 days ago in this investigation. They're gonna look at it, of course, but it probably won't even play a relevance into what happened for that civil rights investigation. So on Wednesday, a federal judge blocked Homeland Security from detaining refugees statewide and ordered their release, while Senate Democrats demanded 3 DHS reforms and warned of a possible shutdown. And I was hoping, I'm like, bro, I know they're not threatening another shutdown, chat. That would be crazy. Another shutdown? 2026, we're coming already with a shutdown would be crazy. Aiden, what's up, Aiden? How you doing, brother? Hope you're doing well. Hope you're doing well. So, let's see what's happening here. What's for me? What's for me? What's for me, chat? What is for me? Oh yeah, let's get back to this. Let's see if they got some updates going on. Oh yeah, I said I want to get back to this, but I want to make sure they don't have any updates.
Now, all of you should be on notice. Is this what happens when you cover a controversial event? If you go in to cover a controversial event, is this what's going to happen to you? I hope all of you register the seriousness of this assault.
With ScribeHow.com, you can create documentation in minutes, not hours. Until now, it took forever.
Pam Bondi said she's going to go after people who infringe on others' right to worship. What do you think about that?
Well, I mean, again, we are talking about reporters who are covering a story. There should be a separation between the reporters covering the story and the people who were involved in the protest. I'm not saying they shouldn't have been there. I don't have that information. What I have the information for is what I saw in that courtroom, and it was an embarrassment on the part of the government.
Thank you, Mayor.
Thank you all. Thank you.
Thank you.
Shot. The Civil Rights Division of the Department of Justice does not investigate every one of those shootings. There has to be circumstances or facts, or maybe unknown facts, but certainly circumstances that warrant an investigation. So when I talked about last weekend, and when others have talked about this week, the fact that President Trump has said repeatedly, of course, this is something we're going to investigate. That's what I meant about what we're doing. It doesn't mean that every time that there's a federal officer-related shooting, that's something civil rights takes up. It depends on the circumstances.
Makes sense to me. Makes sense to me.
Today, business happens.
We'll go ahead and pause that real quick.
Virtually everywhere.
So that doesn't play again. Makes sense to me in that civil rights case, because that's what he was doing. He was protesting. So of course DOJ was gonna open up an investigation on that. I wasn't surprised when they did it. I was not surprised when they did it. So let's see if they still.
Instead of looking up.
What's going on, chat? Let her cook.
At Stephen Miller. At the billionaires who.
Are you talking about her? Yeah, let her cook. That was the end of the video, though. That was the end of the video. What was that? I think that was Mayor. She the mayor or something. Let me see what this lady talking about real quick.
Organizing beforehand, protecting the location of the protest, and then walking to the church beforehand, protecting the location of the protest, and then walking to the church shortly after it began. Do you think that makes him a participant or a journalist?
He's a journalist.
Also, the complaint says parents of their children were terrorized and intimidated.
can't hear.
Protests.
I can't hear.
I think they done cut all the live protest feed.
Amen. Amen. I'm Jen Nagel, and I am one of the 6 Minnesota bishops of the Evangelical Lutheran Church of America.
Get
Can you
closer.
hear me?
Yes.
Let me start again.
No. Speaker's not working. Hold it.
Let's do this. Okay. I'm Jen Nagel. It is on. I'm Jen Nagel, and I'm one of the 6 Lutheran bishops in Minnesota, the Evangelical Lutheran Church in America. I serve Minneapolis area synod, so the western side of the Twin Cities metro. In the Bible, at the end of the Gospel of Matthew, the question rings out and it lingers in the air, that cold air, right? Yes. These are questions that are posed to Jesus. When did we see you hungry or thirsty? When did we see you naked and in need of clothing? When did we see you a stranger and welcome you, or imprisoned and visit you? And Jesus responds, what did he say? When you did it to the least of these, you did it to me. It's in the face of our neighbor that we meet Jesus. As people of faith, we value hospitality. We value neighbor love. That's how we're wired. That's how we serve. For many, that is precisely how we come face to face with Jesus, with our God. The history of my church, the Lutheran Church, is shaped by being immigrants and refugees and by serving immigrants and refugees. It's not a surprise to me right now that when the vitriol and violence are rampant, we're doing the things that we've always done. Amen? The things that we are wired.
That's a live protest right there. A lot of people are
Comfort straight leg pants made for men over 50. Whether you're 50, 60, 70, or beyond.
We'll get some water over there. And this is, guys, I can tell you from walking that people are like dropping off a little bit or resting. I don't want to say dropping off, but people are stopping to rest. But the crowd still remains large.
This is Minneapolis.
Somebody's making progress.
This is at LA City Hall. This is in LA. They protesting in LA too right now. This is at the LA City Hall. They are protesting in LA right now too. Find some live protests. Massive protests. Oh shit. Like we got something going on right here in Minneapolis, chat. Like we might have something going on in Minneapolis. They already got tear gas out. They got tear gas out already in Minneapolis. Y'all, it's going crazy. Did you see the Mangani won't get the death penalty? Yeah, I saw that earlier. I didn't want to really touch on that. But yeah, I saw that earlier. Yep, I saw that earlier. Yo, chat, what did I tell y'all yesterday, man? I told y'all, I said this stuff is just gonna get worse and worse and worse. Because after the Tim Walz meeting with Tom Homan, and Tom Homan had that press conference, and then Tim Walz had that meeting with CNN. After I heard them two speak, I said they are not on the same page, chat. both of them said it was a good meeting, but after they started talking, I said, nah, they're not on the same page. They are not on the same page. And this is right here. What we're seeing right now is a result that they're not on the same page. And this stuff is going to get worse and worse. Man, look, man. Yo, what's up? What's up, Sean? What's up? What's up? What's going on? Respectfully, I think those agents gave a pass the first time. Yeah, I mean, yeah, they definitely gave him a pass the first time. And like I said earlier, before you came in here, Danny, I don't know if it was the same federal agents from 11 days ago, or they had a discussion about this guy, or when they saw him again, they knew who he was, and it just upgraded the force. You know what I'm saying? Like increased the force that they took on. I don't know, but they definitely gave him a pass the first time. But I will say, did you watch the Borders? Yep, I did. I did. That's who I was talking about. That's Tom Homan. That's who I was talking about. Tom Homan. He said, "Are they barbecuing all that smoke?" Look, it's finna get somebody's chat. I told y'all it's about to get worse. They were not. They did not have a good meeting, and uh, but yeah, that's the board. The border czar is Tom Homan. So that's who I was talking about earlier. Tom Homan and Tim Walz didn't have a. They didn't have a good meeting, but it's about to get worse. Like y'all see what's happening right now, and you think these protesters didn't prepare? Being that they already had they've been having January the 30th planned out for weeks now. And so the last protest they had before, when Alex Preddy was out there and he got unalived and all that stuff, and they were throwing tear gas everywhere. You think these protesters aren't organized? You think they don't have gas masks and stuff like that? They have stuff. And it's about to get we gonna hear some news tonight, chat. I'm letting y'all know right now, because we know they are going to protest tonight. It's cold as hell in Minneapolis right now. 1 degrees with wind chills. It's gonna be worse tonight. The weather's gonna be worse, but they're gonna be out there tonight. And it's about to be chaos. I'm telling y'all right now. Y'all heard it here first, chat. Y'all heard it here first. Y'all heard it here first. Or second. Or third. Look at that. Look at that. They got weapons pointed and everything. Now, I don't know if those are just non-lethal weapons. They could be non-lethal weapons. And then again, who knows? But this is exactly what Tim Walz did not want right here. Somebody said, "You're going to have to kill me. You're going to have to unalive me. You're going to have to unalive me." life for sure. It's crazy, Sean, out here. It's crazy out here, Sean.
You're gonna kill me! That's what you want? You wanna kill me? You wanna kill me on the street? You're gonna have to fucking kill me!
So that's what's going on in Minneapolis right now. This is in LA currently. Everything looking cool in LA right now. They walking with the shirt on. It must be like 76 degrees in LA right now. We don't see any jackets. Nobody don't have any jackets on.
Ice out of LA! 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 Also, sometimes came out today from some journalists who were arrested with a coincidence, I know. Michael, you're an idiot. This Chuck, you're an idiot too.
Let's see what they talking about. Let me see what they talking about over here.
They'd need to be ready to tell those judges, F you, using the full four-letter word. Chief Judge Boasberg became the target of that bovie F you. In that matter, considerable evidence of contempt of court by DOJ officials caused Chief Judge Boasberg to notice probable cause and schedule contempt proceedings. That, I think, is the heart of this whole messy situation. One of the subjects of that contempt proceeding was now Judge Bovee.
Okay, I don't know what's happening.
As that contempt proceeding went forward,
I don't know what's happening right there. But I thought it was something. Kristi Noem impeachment live. I watched this. Yeah, I think. Oh yeah. This the one that I watched.
Have you heard about Pop on Roofing? We need 50 homeowners in your area to trial this radically simple new roofing service.
Become targets. And during that hearing, we talked about the threats to law enforcement, specifically federal law enforcement, and even specifically within federal law enforcement, the threats toward ICE agents, the threats toward you and other members of leadership within DHS. We know that those threats and those incidents of physical attack have escalated dramatically, in some cases over 1,000%. And part of the driving force, I believe, behind those threats is what I refer to as rhetoric against law enforcement. And I brought this up last week, and I want to bring this up again with you and give you a chance to briefly address this. These are just roughly 10 of the statements that I was able to easily find online by elected officials, governors, mayors, in many cases members of Congress, where they were spewing what I believe to be very harmful statements toward law enforcement. Governor Pritzker claimed that ICE is grabbing people off the street and disappearing them, that our country is becoming Nazi Germany. Representative Crockett compared ICE to slave patrols. Representative Garcia referred to ICE as thugs. Representative Ramirez attacked ICE as a terror force, later a terrorist organization, and then later in the hearing said, let me be clear, the Department of Homeland Security, you can quote me on that.
Y'all just mad because y'all don't. They mad. You can't be mad at what people saying though. I mean, freedom of speech. You cannot be mad at what people saying. They just mad. I don't really think it's necessary that they mad at what they're saying. They mad at the narrative. They controlling the narrative, and they can't get a control of the narrative. That's the only thing. What's up, Karina? How's it going? How's it going? Along with this protesting, I believe people made the ICE agents a millionaire. Which one you talking about? Harpo, who this? Harpo, who this? Harpo, what we talking about? This protesting is ridiculous. Nice weather they're having. Who this? I'm confused, Don. I'm confused, Danny. I'm confused. What you saying? Well, I made it to the rail yard. That's what's up, Sean. Oh, the guy talking in the suit. Oh, okay, okay. That's what's up, Sean. That's what's up, man. Yeah, that's what I was trying to figure out who he was. I don't know.
That is the
in death threats.
Gentleman's
It's
time
unacceptable.
gentleman's time expired. I now recognize the gentleman from Michigan, Mr. Tanadar, for 5 minutes of questions. Please remember to stick to the 5 minutes.
Thank you, Chairman Garbarino and Ranking Member Thompson, for having this hearing today. I know the American people have been demanding answers from this administration on their unlawful actions. So I hope we are able to get some useful answers from our witnesses today. Secretary Noam, this past May, I asked you during a congressional hearing if it was the policy of DHS to follow orders issued by federal courts. You said on the record, and I'm quoting here, "We are following all federal orders." End of my quote, end of your quote. Secretary Noam, you lied to me under oath that day. You lied to the American people, and
Yo, is that a real picture? Is somebody holding a picture? That don't look like it's real. It look like it's like a photo, like an edited photo. Somebody holding. Is that real, chat? It looked like somebody's actually holding that on the screen. This guy on the mic now, he didn't really announce himself. He didn't announce himself, but he's in the Senate, so he's in the Senate somewhere. But he didn't announce himself though. His name is Mr. They'll show me in
why
a second.
did you lie under oath by saying DHS was following all federal court orders when they clearly were not?
Congressman.
Question two, let me finish my questions. Question two, why did you mislead the American people when you said that no American citizens have been arrested or detained by federal immigration agents? And my last question, number three, Donald Trump said that your ICE agents haven't gone far enough. Do you think terrorizing American citizens and assaulting peaceful protesters isn't far enough?
Congressman, the Department of Homeland Security and this administration complies with all federal court orders. We always have and we always will.
Not true.
And we will continue to appeal. And sir, I will even tell you that at the highest court, at the Supreme Court, the Department of Homeland Security in our litigation has an over 90% success rate in winning at the highest court in our battle against activist judges across this country.
Madam Secretary,
judges that we will continue to appeal. And then when it gets to the highest court and we get a decision, it is proven that we are right, that we have been compliant. I will also say,
Madam Secretary, let me.
Do you want me to answer your questions or not?
I do, but let me. You haven't been telling us the truth. Look, there have been at least 170 known cases of citizens being arrested or detained by federal immigration agents this year alone. This is the truth. Are you lying to the American people right now by denying these reports?
When we are doing our targeted enforcement operations against criminal illegal aliens, individuals that are in that area may be detained until we verify who they are, and then they are released. This has been done for years, and every single law enforcement operation that has always happened, we follow the same protocols, and we continue to do that. We have never once detained or deported an American citizen. We have not held them and charged them. When we find out—
She lied then. She lied then. We have never once detained an American citizen? Come on now. Come on, Christy. This why I said earlier I said she be sounding scripted sometimes. You got to pay attention to Christy Nolan, man. She's a good speaker. I give it to her. But she is scripted as hell though. She know how to attack those points. I'm telling you, she got her precepts down, y'all. She got her precepts down to the T. I'm telling y'all. I'm telling y'all, she is scripted like hell. That's why people get so mad at her ass because she just sound like a computerized chick. Like she just speaking straight what they told her to say, and then she'll make her own little points in there. But she sounds so scripted, and she's good at it too.
Natural competence and your inability to truthfully carry out your duties of Secretary of Homeland Security. If you're not fired, will you resign?
Sir, I will consider your asking me to resign as an endorsement of my work. Thank you very much.
I yield back my time.
Gentleman yields back his time. I'll remind members that they are entitled to ask questions during their time. Witnesses are entitled to answer those questions. Members are entitled to reclaim their time. So if we're going to have questions and answers, please allow it. You can reclaim your time if you want, but witnesses are here voluntarily. Please at least give them a chance to answer the questions that you're asking. I now recognize the gentleman from Texas, Mr. Pfluger, for 5 minutes of questions.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman, and it's unfortunate that our colleagues on the other side of the aisle for 5 straight years now have no concern for anything worldwide threats-wise, and have proven that. We're supposed to be talking about worldwide threats, but unfortunately we're talking about homeland threats in our homeland. And Director, can you just reaffirm the number for us of people that match the...
She had to come back because she left. I believe she left earlier. She had to come back because she left when I was watching earlier.
terror watch list that are in our country?
There's 18,000 known and suspected terrorists in the country right now that came in under Joe Biden's watch.
18,000?
18,000.
That's unbelievable. That's unbelievable.
And that's just what we know of, Congressman.
Secretary, despite even members on this committee that have called our law enforcement and ICE and DHS and Border Patrol and other agents names and slandered them, I support you, and I support what you're doing to secure the homeland. The Working Families Tax Act allocated $13.5 billion to the Department of Homeland Security and the Department of Justice to reimburse states for the cost of the Biden-Harris administration's open border policies. No state suffered more than Texas. Fentanyl, drug and human trafficking, violent crime, stress on local emergency response services caused substantial damage to my district, to our state, to my constituents, to people that live and work in Texas. And in response, our state launched Operation Lone Star to secure the border when the Biden administration abdicated their responsibility to do that. We built miles of border wall. We had other barriers. We deployed state troopers, National Guard to deter the invasion that we suffered during this time period, which cost our state over $11 billion. And so as part of this Working Families Tax Act, we allocated $13.5 billion to reimburse those states. Last month, along with our senators, I led the Republican Texas delegation in sending a letter to you and Attorney General Bondi highlighting this and requesting that the state of Texas be fully reimbursed. And I wanted to get a status on that reimbursement today.
Yes, thank you. And we still to this day remain incredibly grateful to the state of Texas for their leadership during that time. That was challenging times, devastating times for what we saw happening down there. And Texas stepped up in a way that was absolutely incredible. So yes, those dollars are being formulated and allocated. If you remember, many states deployed their National Guard down there. I was governor of South Dakota at that time, and my National Guard was deployed down there as well. So reconciling the costs for every single state and looking at that allocation, we're making sure we're doing due diligence to make sure that it's appropriated correctly.
And just to be clear, I want to make sure that that money does come in the form of the reimbursement to Texas.
That's what we're working with the White House on doing, sir.
Okay.
Yeah.
When it comes to what Director Kent...
Here's to family fun in the forecast in Wisconsin. To packing...
despite my colleagues saying that it was an accident, it was a murder and an assassination of a National Guard hero. So what other types of threats are you tracking and preventing from happening?
Yeah, I would say, sir, that we face the terrorists that we've faced for years, in ISIS, Al-Qaeda, Hamas, individuals that are here that are radicalized, but also we face the cartels as they've infiltrated our country under the last administration, their proliferation of human trafficking, drugs, and violence, going after Tren de Aragua as well, MS-13. Those individuals are still a very real, clear danger every day on the streets, and we encounter them, arrest them, and deport them and bring them to justice each and every day. Beyond that, sir, you even have gangs in cities that are localized that are terrorist organizations. The Latin Kings in Chicago are absolutely terrorists to their communities, and we work every day to make sure that we're protecting those communities. So I could not prioritize one over another because they're all killers. They're all killers, and they all are destroying families each and every day.
For both you and Director King.
Why should you just name the Latin Kings, though? What's up, Icy Fox? This is what happens when you open the border. Thank you, good old Joe. She is for sure a liar. I mean, yeah. I don't know. I can't listen to her for too long. I ain't gonna lie to y'all. I can't listen to her for too long. Not too long. Anyways, chat. I covered everything I wanted to cover. I'm just actually going through some of these live protests right now, trying to see what's going on. Icy Fox, hello, Icy. How you doing, brother?
It just blows that way. Fucking idiots. Look at that. It's doing nothing.
It's crazy, y'all. This is crazy right here, chat. Shit, this just the icing on the cake right here, y'all. Well, not even the icing on the cake. I'm saying like this right here is just the beginning of what's to come. Tonight it's gonna get active tonight. It's gonna get very active tonight. I'm telling y'all right now, it's going down in Minneapolis tonight. See how they move. Look how they moving in LA. This is how they moving in LA right now.
Spawn said no trolls allowed. Take your lonely selves back to your keyboard. Go somewhere else. So we turned on first.
I feel the movement and all, but my bank account don't allow me to participate respectfully. I'm saying, Danny. I'm saying. These people got plenty of time and resources to be out there protesting. They going crazy over here, bro. They are going crazy right now.
Again, people are just standing here. Don't escalate. Don't be stupid. Just stand down. Go back.
They got somebody arrested right there.
Guys, they're doing nothing. They're just standing here. Stop being little bitches.
They done arrested somebody, huh?
Way to prove you're a fascist. Way to prove that you're a fascist. So did you guys follow protocol when you guys killed Renee Nicole Good? Did you guys follow protocol when you guys killed Alex Preddy? Did you guys follow the rules then? Hey Nazis, did you guys follow the rules when you guys killed Alex Preddy and Renee Nicole Good? Did you guys follow the rules then? With how dare you tell us to follow the rules? How fucking dare you?
So they going crazy over there too.
Chris says, back to the basement, trolls. Yes.
Pretty peaceful on that side of LA. See what's going on back in Minneapolis. See if we can get an update real quick on ground news. What they talking about on the chat? Thought Trump said he would minimize the agents there. No, he said not at all. He didn't say he was gonna minimize the Trump The agents in Minneapolis. He said not at all. They asked him a question: was he going to minimize the agents there? He said, "No, no, 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 not until we get who we got to get up out of there." Right? And Tom Homan said he's not going to minimize it um, until they can come to an agreement to release, to contact federal agents once they release the undocumented immigrants from jail. Because Minneapolis haven't been doing that. They haven't been, contacting federal agents, letting them know that they've released a violent criminal back into the street after he served his time, or she serves her time, whoever the case, whoever it is. So let me see if Ground News has any updates on immigration. Let's see what's happening right now. We don't have any updates. Uh, yep, we do have one right here. They already touched it right here. Don Lemon, released from custody after arrest on Friday. Don Lemon, former CNN anchor and independent journalist, was released on a no money bond. So that's just the update. He was released on a no money bond after a brief hearing at the Edward R. Roybal Federal Building and United States Courthouse in downtown Los Angeles. So he was released, chat. Don Lemon was released. Not a single intelligent thought in that entire crowd, says Andrew. Why do I feel like all of this is going to have bad repercussions? Yep, it will at some point. The indictment states prosecutors allege Lemon live streamed a protest at City's Church in St. Paul almost 2 weeks ago, coordinating Operations Pull Up with organizers. Okay, so that's what they're saying. And I said that earlier. I said it's gonna be because of his influence. They believe his influence, who he is, the fact that he live streamed while he was there, influenced other people to show up, more organizers to show up. Okay. According to the federal affidavit, congregants reported block aisles and stairs that hampered retrieving children, um, causing the service to be cut short and children to fear for their safety. His next court appearance is scheduled for February the 9th, and Marilyn Bednarski, Lemon's lawyer, said he intends to plead not guilty and fight the case. Alrighty, so he got to go back to court February the 9th. That is actually next Monday. No, not this Monday coming up, but the following Monday. Yeah, that's coming up. Federal judges had already rebuffed prior government bids, and freedom of press foundations and other press freedom groups warned these prosecutions could chill reporting and called the arrest an attack on the First Amendment. Okay, so let's see the rights perspective on this. Let's see the rights perspective on this. So why arrest him then? They arrest, yeah, exactly. I mean, they arrest him because they're I they want to silence him. That's it. They want to silence him. So anybody else out there who thinking about doing what he did with the power that he has, they'll think twice before they do it. That's why they did it. Alrighty. Uh, Don Lemon was released from custody without bail following his court appearance. U.S. Attorney General Pam Bundy stated that federal agents arrested Lemon and others for their involvement in the protest. Don's attorney, Ms. Lowell, claimed Lemon's arrest was a distraction, arguing he was acting as a journalist protected by First Amendment. And Los Angeles Mayor Karen Bass emphasized that journalists must be supported, stating if it can happen to one journalist, it can happen to all of them. Right. Okay. So let's actually see if we can find Fox News already put that out. Fox News put that out. CNN put that out. Let's see if we can find video on this. So there's no video on this. Nope. 6 articles. All right. So they got 6 articles on it. So see what y'all talking about in the chat. Karen Bass. That's right. Karen Bass. Democrats scramble to block ICE near polling sites. Center covered 3 sources. Let's see what they got going on right here. When was this released? 5 hours ago. What is this? Center in front of me. Yeah. Here's what they talking about right here. I don't want to read that. I can't even read that. I don't really like that source right there. I do not like that source, chat. Uh-oh, what they talking about right here? Some Native Americans. Some Native Americans seek documentation amid concerns about ICE enforcement. Some U.S. citizens in Minneapolis are carrying their passport due to fears of being detained by federal immigration agents. Native Americans are also carrying tribal documents proving their U.S. citizenship in case they are stopped or questioned. There have been reports of Native Americans being stopped and detained by ICE officers despite being U.S. citizens. So that right there is a centerpiece right there. Let's see. That's a center report. Let me see if I can find something. Far left, far right. They ain't got no. They only got five right sources on this. Let's see. Fear and Ice. I don't want to read all that. Not that one. Yeah, we can read this one. It's the Mariana Daily Journal. Y'all have ground news? Let me know in the chat if y'all have ground news. I don't know if y'all have ground news, but it's a good definitely a good subscription to have for sure. Fear and ICE Native American rush to prove their rights to belong in the United States. Many of the people whose ancestors lived in the United States thousands of years before Europeans are carrying tribal identification for protection against Trump and administration anti-immigration agenda. All right. Native identity in the new age of fear. Since the mid to late 1800s, the U.S. government has kept detailed genealogical records to estimate Native American fractions of Indian blood and determine their eligibility for health care, housing, education, and other services owed under federal legal responsibilities. These records were also used to aid federal assimilation efforts and chip away at tribal sovereignties, communal land, and identity. I don't want to read through all that. So it looked like they just carrying around more identification in the midst of what's happening right now. That's what's happening. What's for me, ground news? What's for me? What is for me? We're gonna find. We're gonna keep see what's going on these lives real quick. Uh-oh. So that's what's going on, chat. That's what's happening. Y'all see what is going on. They were going to show up regardless of Lemon's presence. Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, but they definitely was gonna do that. Trump released 3 million pages. People kept talking about released the file. Trump did that in full. What's up, Nico? How you doing, Nico? How you doing? We getting ready to get out of here though, y'all. Y'all see what's happening right now? L.A., San Francisco, different parts of Cali, Minneapolis, Colorado. They're protesting in Texas. I showed you high school protesters earlier. They were protesting high school in Texas, in Cali, all over. Minneapolis, they were protesting in high school. Don Lemon was released from um, police custody today. And we also showed you the 3 million pages that the DOJ released today as well. So I protest. I want Subway. I want Subway. I heard that. And I'm finna get me some rest. I'm finna get me some rest, chat. So tune in later on. Sometime maybe tomorrow we'll probably touch on what's happening. It's going to be a lot more news tonight that I'm not going to be able to cover. But you guys already know. I'll be back tomorrow with another one. And with that, I say peace out. Y'all have a great night.